I am Lady Lynn A. Evangelista, and today my group and I will going to discuss about the topic: should the Philippines open the tourism and hospitality industry completely, even though 83% to 94% of the population, in order to achieve the herd immunity, is not yet vaccinated, and we are in negative side? Our healthy future cannot be achieved without putting the health and well-being of the population at the center of the policy. The COVID-19 pandemic, a crisis that further exposed the stresses and weaknesses of our health system. For young infants and children, ill health or the COVID-19 affects their capacity to accumulate human capital. For adults, ill health or COVID-19 lowers quality of life and labor market outcomes, and disadvantage compounds over the course of a lifetime. That's why we are against, or we are in the negative sides of in the overall opening of the tourism and industry hospitality in the Philippines. We need to prioritize the health of the people. We can open the hospitality and tourism industries slowly if the number of the vaccinated people increases and or all of the people are all vaccinated. There is nothing wrong in opening the tourism and hospitality industry slowly in the country, but the issue here is the health of the people. And we must need to do something to slowly resolve it. And now, let me introduce you my group mates who will explain and give stand in the topic and in the negative side of the topic. Here are Kyra Magsisi and Terence Ramo. Thank you.
What means success?
We all know that the increase in the number of arrivals in our country is also the increase in the number of recorded cases of COVID. The reason why we do not agree with the reopening of tourism and hospitality in our country. So let's just say na the pandemic has a big impact when it comes to the tourism and hospitality industry. Pero wala tayong magagawa. It's a virus that you can get anytime sick and die. So the government implementing a travel ban, community quarantine, lockdown for the national security and public health of the Filipino. According to the World Tourism Organization, without a doubt, the tourism industry is among the sectors that have been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The closing of borders, airports, and hotels, as well as restriction on mass gatherings, as well as the travel and related service across the world put around 100 to 120 million jobs at risk. So now, we will tell you why we do not agree with the reopening of tourism in our country. Sa panahon ngayon, there are many negative impacts of having mass gatherings. So let's say that there are vaccines against COVID-19, but you don't know that there are still many who are not vaccinated. So according to Reuters COVID-19 trackers, Philippines has administered at least 100,013,599 doses of COVID vaccine so far. Assuming that every person needs the second dose, that enough to have vaccinated about 46.3% of the country's populations. This vaccines rollout data is reported by the number of doses of coronavirus vaccines administered and the number of the people have been vaccinated. Because most vaccines requires is 2 doses and many countries have different schedule to deliver the second dose. So we don't know with this data how many people have ultimately received both doses. So marami sa ating mga Pilipino ay takot pa rin na magpabakuna because of what they see as a possible effect on them. So if the tourism reopens in our country, then we will let foreigners in again, and not everyone will be vaccinated. The spread of virus may no longer be prevented. Because especially now that there is a new variant of COVID, which is the B11529 variant. The epidemiological situation in South Africa has been characterized by 3 distinct reported cases, the latest of which was predominantly the Delta variant. In recent weeks, and infections have increased steeply, coinciding with the detections of B11529 variant. And the first known confirmed for B11529 infections was from the specimen collected on November 9, 2021. So of the additionals is 182 Delta variant cases and 112 are local cases. So 36 are returning overseas Filipinos and 34 cases are currently being verified if these are local or ROF cases. So, ang tanong, so how do we open up tourism if we continue to violate the government policies? No. So how do we open the tourism if we continue to follow the government policies to prevent the spread of the virus? As much as possible, for me, in my opinion, do not open the tourism first and hospitality in our country because if there are still many cases of COVID and many more Filipinos will not be vaccinated. Kasi hindi yan mapipigilan yung pagkalat ng virus or hindi yan mawawala sa ating bansa kung i-open natin yung tourism and hospitality sa ating bansa. Kasi sa pagdami ng pagpasok dito sa ating bansa ay siya rin pagdami ng mga natatalang kaso ng COVID. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat.
As far as I know, in the tourism industry, it's hard for them to reopen the industry, even though they are fully vaccinated or not. The tourism business has been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has resulted in travel restriction and a drop among the passengers. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, global international tourist arrivals could drop by 58% to 78% by 2020, resulting in a loss of $0.9 to 1.2 trillion international tourism receipts. By 2021, not only the Philippines will open to tourism, but even in the other countries. The negative impact in the tourism, even you are not fully vaccinated but you have negative result in swab test, you are welcome to your destination, which is not good to the others because we are not secure to the virus and we are not mentally prepared for what the causes of the virus even you have a fully vaccinated or negative swab test results. The tourism of the world is down in closes. In the Philippines, we have also experienced the negative result of the pandemic, closing the bar, tourist destinations, restaurants, malls, and also the school that we are not mentally and physically prepared for this pandemic. The new normal in this pandemic that we are facing is limited and observing physical observation.
Sa pagkakalam ko, ang industriya ng turismo, mahirap para sa kanila na madaling buksan muli ang industriya ng turismo. Kahit na sila ay ganap na nakabakunan o hindi, ang negosyo ng turismo ay tinamaan ng epidemya or COVID-19 na nagresulta naman ng mga paghigpit or pagbaba in demand ng mga pasahero. Ang industriya ng turismo ay lubhang napinsala ng mga pagkalat ng coronavirus na resulta sa ilang mga bansa na nagpapataw ng mga paghigpit ng paglalakbay or paghigpit sa mga turis na nagpatatangkang pigilan. Tatangkang pigilan or paghigpit or paglakbay o tatangkang pigilan ng pagkalat ng virus. Ayon sa United Nations World of Tourist Organization ng Pandaigdig International na pagdating ng mga turista ay maaaring bumaba ng 58% or 78% sa 2020. Nagresulta sa pagpalugi na umabot ng 9.2 trillion sa resibo ng international sa turismo. Ayon sa 2021, hindi lamang ang Pilipinas ang nagbubukas ng kanilang turismo, kundi ang mga ibang mga bansa. Ang negatibong resulta sa turismo kahit na fully vaccinated pero negative ang resulta mo sa swab test, welcome or destination mo, hindi maganda sa iba kasi tayo secure or virus at hindi tayo mentally prepared para sa kung ano ang mga sanhi ng virus. Kahit na mayroon kang ganap na bakunahan or negatibong resulta ng swab test, bumaba at nagsasara ang turista ng dito sa Pilipinas. Naranasan ng mga negatibong resulta ng pandemic na ito ang pagsasara ng bar, tourist or destination or restaurant, malls, at pati na rin ang mga paaralan na hindi tayo handa sa mga mental at physical na pandemic na ito. Ang bagong normal sa pandemyang ito na ating kinaharap ay limitado at ang pagmamasid sa physical na